to Left, Right, Center. The state legislature has adjourned after an especially contentious session that ended with House Republicans staging a walkout when the Speaker used an obscure rule to shut down debate on a controversial bill. Democrats had their biggest majority ever, and they took full advantage, passing a slew of progressive legislation, including a record number of gun control bills, tens of millions of dollars in new tax credits for electrification, more protections for access to abortion, additional rights for renters, and a change in how Tabor refunds are doled out that's contingent on the passage of a property tax relief measure referred to the ballot. So, Dick, Republicans, of course, think that Democrats overreached, but voters did send Democrats in big numbers to the state legislature. So isn't this what they expected?
Sure. Listen, the Democrats, they had their, quote, mandate, and Fenberg talked about that, but I think that mandate is a little nuanced. Voters did not embrace the Democratic agenda in electing those majorities. That was an anti-Trump vote. And they were more interested in sending a message to Donald Trump than saying, oh, yeah, we think coddling criminals and encouraging homelessness and encouraging illegal drug abuse is the thing to go. I think it's not as simple as saying they had a mandate. By the way, I think the Republican leadership did a fine job. I think Paul Lundeen, the Senate Minority Leader, Mike Lynch, the House Minority Leader, they did an excellent job leading small minority caucuses. And I don't blame Mike Lynch for leading that walkout out of the House. It was irresponsible for the House majority and for Polis and both majorities to try to ram through that sweeping legislation at the end of the session. They had 120 days to do that. They wait till the last, 3 days? That was wrong. It's irresponsible.
It was risky, certainly. Governor Polis usually gets what he wants down in the legislature, has been my observation. But this year, that affordable housing bill failed after municipalities really pushed back, saying they didn't want state involvement in land use decisions. So are you surprised, given the bill had the support of a pretty broad coalition? You had environmentalists and then you had the Denver Chamber also coming together on this.
Well, and they did a lot of stakeholding. They did try to meet with a lot of people. I'm sure some of the people they met with weren't happy about it, so you can't count them as on board, and they weren't. It came down to a few senators. We
Rachel Zenzinger being one of them.
Rachel Zenzinger was, and Jeff Bridges, and certainly a few others, and they just didn't like how it affected their communities particularly. And there were enough senators to say this isn't the time, and some of that, and Dick's right. It came at the very end. This happens every year, by the way. They really do need to sort this out. I mean, it aggravates everybody. You're covering it. Yeah. The people that are lobbying, the legislative, had it with it.
And these were complicated pieces to explain to people, too. I mean, this ballot measure is complicated, and then its connection to this bill that changes how Tabor refunds are rolled out is going to require a lot of education.
It's going to go down.
And then, the governor just vetoed the bill on the wolf reintroduction, and, that put Dylan Roberts in a bad spot up in the mountains, and things like this are still going to linger for a while, and people are going to remember them for next session.
Predictions for next session?
Well, I think we'll see the assault rifle bill come back. I mean, I think some of the liberal stuff that didn't make it, the assault rifle bill, the rent control, they're going to make other runs at those things. So Dick will get a chance to, opine on them again. But they're not done with this. And we'll see, I think, something that will be dealing with what 213 was supposed to do is bring more density into urban areas in terms of housing.
Dick, your predictions?
Well, commensurate with what Mike just said, I think we're going to see a much more aggressive Democratic Socialist bloc next time. They started to at the very end, and they put pressure on the Speaker of the House, and then she caved. She fell to her knees and said, "Please forgive me. I'll do better with you next year." That was a sign of weakness by the Speaker of the House, who I thought was a rural moderate. But as far as I could tell, whatever Jared Polis wanted and the liberals in the caucuses wanted, McCluskey was there for them. I don't think she's any kind of a moderate.
Well, she didn't give Polis his housing bill, though. I mean, it did pass out of the House.
Yeah,
It
and
did
I think
pass
she
out of
did
the
an
House.
awesome
That's
job
right.
the whole
That's right.
session. I mean, at the end, there's a lot of emotions. People are going to have time to regroup, and I think her leadership will be solid next year.
Representative Epps is going to play a big role next year, and I think others would join her.
Well, that's why one
Yeah.
of the predictions for next session have
Yes.
got to be more criminal justice reforms,
Yes.
I would think.
Oh, yes. They're going to
They
be
were
back
pretty
to.
disappointed. I think the progressives are very disappointed
Right.
about criminal justice.
We got to
Right, I
coddle
think so.
criminals.
Yeah.
You see them clipping
And
that,
immigrants.
using that somewhere? All right, thanks for joining us for this installment of Left, Right, Center. See you next